ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Hey everyone, welcome to another Roundtable Talk. My name is Robert Bannon, and this is the Roundtable Talks, where we talk to artists about their art. I'm so excited today. We're talking about people who've done television and theater, who do a little bit of everything. And do you remember in the 90s and 2000, I guess it was 2000s, I was graduating high school, and my favorite show was to come home and watch the Rosie O'Donnell Show. If it was Elton John, if it was Barbra Streisand, if it was Broadway, if it was movies, if it was television, she made me laugh, and the band was led by the one and only John McDaniel. You know, John McDaniel is a music director and is a recording artist and is a producer of some amazing Broadway shows. I invited my friend Christine Clifton, who dropped in from North Carolina, who's known John for a long time, and we all had a big old family combo. Take a peek. All right, I'm so excited about our next guest because I literally grew up watching him. He's been someone who's been behind some of my favorite Broadway shows. I'm kind of obsessed. I hope this is an audition for a gender switching revival of Brooklyn. That's what I'm hoping. I can't sing those notes, but I hope that this is what's going to happen. He's an Emmy winner, he's a Grammy winner, and he's someone who's given us a lot of joy. John McDaniel is here. John, welcome to the Roundtable.
Hey, Robert, how are you?
It's so nice to have you here. You literally are such a part of my childhood and have given so much joy to this little New Jersey theater kid growing up, for sure.
I love that. You would have to sing the notes, though. That's part of it.
Oh, no. I can't.
No. Sorry to burst your bubble.
I know. I literally sat behind you at the Brooklyn Revival. I was with Matt Gould. I sat behind you.
At the concert in Brooklyn?
I sure did.
That's crazy. Oh, why didn't you say hi?
No, I was just a fly on the wall, just excited to be there and to be.
Wasn't that a great night?
It was an amazing night. And yeah. Eden, who's a friend to this show, and I know she's a beast. She's a monster. I know you just
that whole thing together. I was so proud of her.
It was really wonderful. So can we talk a little bit about how you became John McDaniel? You grew up in
I popped out of my mom.
Well, I know you're from St. Louis. When did you get the musical bug? When did it hit you?
Ooh, pretty early on. I was in my first musical, The Music Man, when I was in 6th grade. It was a group, a children's theater group in St. Louis that put on full-on musicals. And I was J.C. Squires, the tenor in the quartet, and I had the best time. I had sort of been aware of musicals before that, but that really got me started. And then I started checking out all the records at the Kirkwood Library in St. Louis, all of the cast recordings and listening to them, recording them, devouring them, just like dreaming about being a part of the thing in New York.
Well, I did The Music Man, and I was in the quartet as well. And
nice.
I cried every day because a cappella harmony singing is not my forte.
Oh, you were crying. You weren't crying for the beauty. You were crying for the terror.
Terror in the baritone, middle, crunchy, weird part.
That's hard.
No, that's so. And then you end up going to college and studying theater and going to Carnegie Mellon.
I did. I auditioned, and for some odd reason, they accepted me. I'll never know why. I think it's actually because I sang the entire soliloquy from Carousel. I had the cojones to do that, and I think they were like, "He's insane. Let's get him." So.
That is absolutely well. Some of the best musical theater artists of all time have all gone to Carnegie Mellon. I mean,
yeah,
and
that's great.
And how did that lead you then to your road to your professional career?
So it's wild. I had been doing some piano playing and music directing in shows for all my life. But when I got to Carnegie Mellon, I was studying theater. I was studying music theater, and I wanted to be, Robert Preston in The Music Man. And so halfway through, at the end of your sophomore year, they had this thing called the cut system, and they actually weed out the riffraff, and they focus then on the folks that they really want to focus on, junior and senior year, and then they graduate. And the head of the department at the time, Mel Shapiro, pulled me into his office near the end of my sophomore year, and he was like, "Okay, listen, your acting is okay, your dancing is okay. Oh, sorry if you're
no worries.
And your singing is okay, but your music is like way up here, and we want to create a program for you and make you what we call a dean's student. And so you'll take a lot more music classes." And I was like all in, and it was the perfect thing for me. It sort of guided me on my road to being a music director.
Well, I have like literally someone that's waiting backstage who is like the encyclopedia of your career. She has given me notes and notes, and she has given me so much information. And I thought I knew a lot about your musical theater career.
Wow.
Christine is here. We're going to walk down the John McD.
Oh my God.
This is your life memory lane moment right here.
Oh my God.
My buddy Christine Clifton is here as well. Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Hello.
Well, Christine, can you tell us a little bit? When we started the Roundtable show over the pandemic, she said, "Can we please get John McD on? I love John McD. He's going to give the best interview," and we made it happen. So I want to thank Christine for giving the recommendation. Christine, can you tell us a little bit about when you first were aware of this gentleman right here?
Well, it started with the Rosie O'Donnell Show, which I think a lot of us,
Yeah.
television.
Well,
Television will do that. Yes.
Look at you both here from the Rosie O'Donnell Show.
Look at you as the Cat in the Hat. Was
I'm
Rosie?
assuming it's the Halloween edition right there.
That was February of 2001.
Wow.
When Rosie was doing Susical.
Right.
Well,
Crazy.
John, before we get to that, you end up doing music directing Chicago and Los Angeles, and kind of making a little bit of a wave there. And then somehow, upon reading information about you, quite the diva-licious legend of theater enters your life. How did you start going from Chicago, etc., to being with Patti LuPone?
So, well, I had met Patti on a cruise ship when I was working on cruise ships years before that, like in 1985, I think we met. I was working on the Fair Sea or the Fair Wind, both of them actually. But Patti and I met on the Fair Sea. And my first cruise as a band leader on a cruise ship, we had two celebrity artists. One was Cab Calloway, and I was like, oh my God. And the other was Patti LuPone. Really, oh my God. So she came to rehearsal and we were going to do, a concert, and I was playing, and she said, I've got this song. It's really long and it's kind of hard to play. I've got this music, and sheet music fell out all over the floor, and it was Meadowlark. And I said, Patti, I don't need the music for Meadowlark. So I started playing, and she was like, you know this? And I'm like, yeah. And so we were like friends immediately, and always kept in touch. And then when I was living in Los Angeles, she was going to do a concert at what's now the Geffen. It was the Westwood Playhouse. And she and her director, Scott Whitman, who you may know from Hairspray fame and other things, Scott was directing this act, and I put the music together, and we had the best time. It was right before she was going to London to do Sunset Boulevard. And it was recorded. It's on RCA. You can all hear it on all streaming platforms.
That's right. It sure is. And then you go on to be with her. You do a Broadway concert.
With her on Broadway. Yep.
Which we have there's the playbill from that event as well. And then what was your first Broadway music directing big extravaganza of a show?
It was the first revival of Grease, the Rosie O'Donnell Grease, with Billy Porter and Sam Harris and Megan Mullally. And I mean, the cast was insane. And it's a really fun record. And then Brooke Shields came into the cast sometime later after Rosie left, and we made a new recording with Brooke, so that's out there too. But I'm glad you brought up the Patti LuPone Grease time, because it was the only time I had my name on the outside of 3 Broadway theaters at the same time. It was Grease and Patti LuPone on Broadway, and the Tommy Tune show Busker Alley that was coming into the St. James. The entire theater was painted. We were all ready to go. I don't know if I'm skipping ahead, but this is
please go ahead.
Story. Well, I don't love it. It was a terrible story, but we were all set to come in, and then Tommy Tune broke his foot in Tampa, which was the city right before we were coming into Broadway. And so, but there was all of our names, outside the theater, and also at the O'Neill for Grease and the Walter Kerr for Patti. That was the only time that ever happened. But
well, I remember I was about 12 years old when that Grease revival came out. I had just discovered Broadway. I had just started seeing shows. My parents would save money. We'd come in from Jersey once a month, see a Broadway show.
Nice.
And of course, Rosie, and it was Billy before Billy was Billy. It was a moment. And I remember coming in
before Will and Grace. Yep.
Coming in and seeing this show and being moved. And then we did it in our little Richfield Park High School. And I was so grateful to see it on Broadway, to then be able to see it there for sure. Is your relationship Rosie from that show kind of how the Rosie O'Donnell Show came to be?
It is. So when we had become, we actually knew each other in LA days as well. And she came to see the Patti LuPone show at the Westwood Playhouse, and we'd all go across to the W Hotel and sing and, at the piano until all hours and had the best time. So we knew each other before we did Grease. In fact, I vouched for her to the producer of Grease that she could sing, which she can't. No, she has like she's like, I can sort of sing. But I said, oh, she was great. And so she got the part. And so then, but of course she was amazing in Grease. I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Worries.
Oh,
so Grease did lead you to the television show.
Yeah, 100%. Because, in any business, especially show business, it's always who you know. Like, who have you worked with? And they're like, oh, I like that girl who did props. She was amazing. Let's get her for our next show. So that is always the thing. So I had just come back to New York after the Tommy Tune show at the St. James didn't happen. And I was all, wah, wah, I'm never going to work again. And the next week the phone rang and it was Rosie. And she said, hey, you may have heard I'm doing this talk show. I would love you to be my band leader, on air every day. Would you be interested? And I was like, oh my God. So I said yes. And then I hung up the phone and said, oh, I don't know how to do that. What the hell is this? I don't know how to do that. But she was amazing. And I plopped myself on my couch the very first day and said, now, what do you want me to do? And she said, just do what you do. And I was like, okay, all right, here we go. And I just did what I did. And it was super fun and some of the best years of my life for sure.
Well, and then you end up getting to play behind not only her and playing live every single show, but playing behind everyone from, I don't know, Jennifer Holliday to Shaka Khan to Barry Manilow to, you name the list of performers.
Meryl Streep to Angela Lansbury. Yeah, it was crazy. It was ridiculously fun that way. Amazing.
Well, I know Christine had spoken to me about it privately, and I had said a little bit about it as well. For anyone out there who was an artistic mind or was a part of the Broadway theater community or was looking for something fun and happy on television, especially in the 90s, early 2000s, you guys were the playground and must-see TV for all of us. Christine, can you tell us a little bit about when you what you loved about the show and what John and his work and Rosie's work did and helped you through your life and times, that you're still here as an avid fan and follower?
True. It just connected. It was great exposure to everyone that could watch, that can't always get to New York. And that's what I liked about it the most, was the Broadway and the production numbers you would put on. The production numbers. And it was just almost a variety show too. There would be games, sometimes games, and there were mystery guests and super. It was a super kid or super. It just was a little bit of everything, and she made it comfortable. She made it fun. She brought you in, but I would say the exposure to Broadway.
Yeah, John, there's a whole entire generation of performers who and theater lovers who got to see Broadway on a daily basis and across the country and the world that never have access to seeing it the way that the 100%. Show and what you all have done did.
Back in those days, if you had a show on Broadway, you were guaranteed a spot on our show, which never happens on anything. You're lucky to get nowadays. Like if you get on The View, it's like a wild, fantastic thing. But we had every show on, the little shows, the big shows, and the shows that Rosie loved, like Titanic, which she really fell in love with, and we had on over and over. It opened, as Christine said, the exposure was vast. And so people were like, oh, I want to see that when I come to New York. And its numbers went up and up and up. And then it won, all kinds of awards.
So were you doing the Rosie O'Donnell Show and then the Broadway stuff at night?
Kind of. I did Annie Get Your Gun during the Rosie years and Chicago. I created the new music arrangements for Annie Get Your Gun, which was a gas for me because I had done the show in high school. So I really knew it and loved it. And also that score is amazing. One great song after another. And by the way, working with Bernadette Peters was not terrible. So I mean, I love her so much. And Tom Wopat was amazing. The whole company was great. And Graziella Danielle, who directed it, is a beautiful mama bear. And it was a beautiful thing. But I was doing the TV show in the morning and then going to rehearsal in the afternoon, late morning. I'd get there at like 11:30, and then we'd work the rest of the day. It was crazy when we were pre-Broadway at the Kennedy Center, because I would finish the live show at 11 in New York and skedaddle to the airport, take the shuttle, go down to DC, rehearse, see the first act, sometimes see the second act, fly back to New York, sleep a couple of hours, wake up, do the TV show. It was a kind of a grueling couple of weeks, but I wouldn't trade that, because it was, both of those projects were really near and dear to my heart, and they were both incredible. So I would do it all over again. I'd be tired all over again for that.
Well, the next two shows and this litany of Broadway shows, in my opinion, if I may say so, are both ahead of their time. I think if both of these shows were out today, you were ahead of your time. The producers, the creative team, ahead of their time. I loved this show, John. I did. I love Raul Esperanza is a genius. The score of this show was beautiful.
It's a great record. We made a really good cast recording. I'm super proud of. Yeah, it was an odd show, and we didn't go out of town to work the kinks out. We just opened. Rosie was like, "This show is ready. Let's do it on Broadway," and we did. And right in front of the eyes of everyone. Our first preview, what we all call the Vulture Squad, is in the theater. Like, let's see what this is. And we had some kinks to work out, and we did a lot of work through previews, but it didn't ignite and take off like we had thought it would.
Well, and then I brought it up, but I loved it. I enjoyed it so much so. I still have my original playbill, and then we talked about this before the show. I'm kind of obsessed with Brooklyn. I really love Brooklyn.
This was a pet project of mine. Jeff Calhoun, my dear friend, the director, brought this piece to me, and he was like, "I want you to hear this music. It's really out there, really interesting. I think you'll dig it." And I flipped and I said, "Let's produce this ourselves. Let's not take it to the usual suspects, to produce it. Let's do it ourselves. We can do it from the ground up. We can pay for a workshop. We can do and so we did, and we funded the original workshop, got some other producers to come on board. We went to Denver, did it at the Denver Civic Theater, and then raised the money to bring it to Broadway. And it ran 9 months. It wasn't like a closed on opening night kind of a thing. It was, and people think, oh, that was a giant flop, but actually, and it didn't make all of its money back, to be honest, to be fair. But a lot of people did see it, and we had a nice tour in 2006 too.
Yeah, Diana DeGarmo. You had like a whole.
She was incredible, and Melba Moore, and it was beautiful.
Well, that's why, as I was going through all of the people that you've worked with in your Melba Moore and Diana DeGarmo and Eden and Melissa Manchester, we've all had the chance to have all of these amazing people, Melissa Errico, on this show, and got to speak to them. And it's so nice to speak to you, like the man behind the music and a lot of the ideas and stuff. But that Brooklyn show, that score of that show,
it's crazy. I'm so glad you dig it. That's
Get
great.
Out of here. I play Once Upon a Time. I play it often, and I just sit in awe of the YouTube videos of the behemoth that is.
I was just with Eden for a week in Provincetown 2 weeks ago. We had so much fun. We hadn't. We went to Egypt together in January on a Playbill cruise, which was ridiculous. But before that, we hadn't played together in a long, long time. And we did. I Never Knew His Name, which was really, very, very moving and great to reconnect with Eden.
I love it. And then we bring up the Bonnie and Clyde, and really fun show.
Yeah, gosh, that was an amazing experience too. Frank Wildhorn is a trip. I love that guy, and I think it's his best score. Frankly, I love what he wrote. It feels like it's all of a piece. It's not pop songs that pop out at you or pop out of the show. It was a blast to orchestrate and arrange that score. It was super fun.
And I love the show too. And we keep on.
It's had a huge. Oh yes, Catch Me, amazing. But did you know that Bonnie and Clyde has had a huge, successful run in the West End? Like, it was crazy. People were going insane in London, and they're working on remounting it in a bigger theater, and it's going to tour in the United Kingdom as well. It's having a major life, which is really, really nice.
Amazing. Yeah. That is amazing.
And Catch Me, yes, which was a total blast to have a big band on stage. And Norbert Leo Butz and Aaron Tveit, just the gems of this band, wonderful folks. Yeah, it was a blast. And Jack, the entire creative team was amazing.
I'm telling you, the Rosie O'Donnell Show is the tip of the iceberg. Patti LuPone is the tip of the iceberg. These shows are the tip of the iceberg. You have given us a lot of arrangements and work, and your work with cabaret and live performance and accompanying. It's its own separate beast than television and theater, and its own. To be a cabaret performer is its own niche of a world. And you do a lot of work with building shows and accompanying shows and presenting shows.
Yes, I'm working on some cool things that are heading to New York at some point. I've been working for years on a musical version of Brave New World, which is based on the Aldous Huxley book, which we are aiming toward Broadway, and it's looking really good, but knock wood, but don't want to jinx anything, but it looks like we'll be doing something else in New York in December on that. And
awesome.
Yeah, and another new musical called Max and Willie's Last Laugh that I'm working on in Washington, D.C. for 2 weeks in January at the Mosaic with a great cast and director. So it's, it never gets boring. It never gets, tiresome. There's always, as we're emerging from this horrible couple of years and we're able to get back in a room and make art together again, it's very, very exciting.
Yes, I agree. It's exciting to watch. Christine, I know you have all the John McDaniel CDs with you right there. Do you have them handy? Are they around? You have them. She has them all, and we were talking about them yesterday. Christine, you had some questions for John. I know you had some questions about coming home. If you are in the St. Louis area, he's coming home.
Yes, I am. Next Thursday, October 20th. Oh my God, look at that.
October 20th. Yep. At 7:30, you can go to bluestrawberrystl.com and you can get your tickets. If you want more information about that, you can go to Instagram and follow John at John McD123, or you can go to johnmcdaniel.com. Christine.
Thank you for that plug.
No, please. She's got the CDs right there.
I have them all together.
Yay. I hope they're all signed. Oh, good.
They are. They're signed. I think it's Broadway.
I used to record for Piano Disc, which is an automatic, what am I trying to say, like a player piano, a digital system. And we put a lot of those onto CD as well. Back in the day when people used to have CD players, do people listen to
No, I know.
Do they? I don't know. I stream everything now.
I put out an album over the pandemic, and I got CDs printed and I mailed them to the people who were a part of it, and they were all like, "Thank you, but what am I supposed to do with it?"
I know. I can only listen to a CD in my car now. That's so weird. And
my dad Amazoned a little CD player just to be able to say, "Look, we're playing this CD."
So weird. So weird.
Christine, you had some questions about going home to St. Louis.
Yes.
Well, I was just saying, I wondered if it would be different this time, going home to St. Louis with.
It's going to be very different because my parents, I don't know if you know, but my parents have sold the family home. They have moved into an independent living facility in Connecticut. My mom just turned 91 and dad's about to be 91 next month. And so they're doing great. It was a decision we made as a family. Like it felt like time. They're living near my sister in Connecticut, and I'm often in Connecticut and New York. So it kind of made sense. Even though a lot of people often retire to Florida, we decided that would not be the best. I'm gone so much. I'm traveling so much. So it's going to be interesting to, probably drive past the house. But I'm staying with friends. And I'm putting together this show that has a lot of songs that remind me of St. Louis, and songs that I grew up on, and songs that I came to love when I was living in St. Louis. So, and it's great. They're great songs, and a lot of them are new to me, which is really fun to do a bunch of new material.
Well, over the pandemic, I know that Christine watched, and you put on a lot of great programming over the pandemic. You had Tea with John McD, and you wrote so many songs, if it was the Zoom song or songs about the time that you were living in. Where do you find your inspiration to sit down and come up with these ideas for some of these songs?
I don't know. They pop into my head, and I go to the computer and write down a couple of words, and then they just kind of come out. I wrote this "You Gotta Vote" song, which I'm gonna revive and update because we all have to vote, next month. It's important. So I don't know. They just pop into me head. Like,
Well, Christine, what did you look forward to when you were watching the virtual shows over the pandemic? What kind of joy did he help give you while you were home? We're all trapped at home, masked and quarantined
and frightened.
Right. I felt when it was the height that first year that the virtual shows, the arts always prevail. They always find a way the show will go on. I felt that it wasn't just entertaining, but it was connecting. It was connected. We weren't having the camaraderie that we usually get in person, and it's just as much entertaining as it was to feel connected in the world with.
I'm glad you got that. That's kind of why I was doing it. I needed to connect too. I mean, we need to connect with audiences and with everyone, and it was a way that I could say to my mom and dad, "Hey, I'm alive and I'm doing great. And, here's some songs." It was, that was really meaningful. Did Christine tell you that we ran into each other in New York?
Yes, she did.
That was so crazy, right in Times Square. We were
both going to, which is the same. And actually, it's even more of a loop. Is we all in the same 24 hours saw the same show, the three of us.
Nice. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I told Christine, go see Strange Loop, and you had seen Strange Loop, and we all Strange Loops.
I loved it so much. Yeah.
John, that you had been an advocate for shows, you've created shows, but you've also, I know from the Rosie O'Donnell shows on, been a big advocate for child performers and helping child performers. I remember seeing a student doing a production of Oliver in Union City, New Jersey, going to, I don't know his name, I was a young kid. I remember you putting him on the show, you going to support and see the show. You've been supporting children performers and helping build them up for many years. You do work with Kristen Chenoweth and her camp. You do work with all sorts of performers. There's you and Kristen there. And her camp is amazing. And what she does, Celeste Simone and Michael Orland and you are all my people. That so when you, what is your advice and how do you foster that knowledge and education of this business to the young kids that want to do this?
My thing is to just get up and sing as much as you can. Get on stage. If you want to be a comedian, tell jokes, get up and do it. Act, take every opportunity. If you get a chance to be in a show, do it. Don't be scared. Just jump in and get the experience, because really that's how you get comfortable doing it over and over again, is just to keep doing it. That's my basic.
Yeah. Sing everywhere.
Yeah, truly.
True. I tell people all the time, they'll say, will you come do something? I will open a 7-Eleven. I'll sing at a car wash. You have to go, if you love the art, you go to the art.
Everywhere, absolutely.
And how did it start with you? I mean, you just were talking about going to Egypt on a Playbill cruise. How did that start? And what is it like when you're on the boat with all these theater fans, hearing these great performers, getting to play in some of these exotic locations? Tell us a little bit about what that experience.
So when I first got out of college, I worked on cruise ships, as I told you, when Cab Calloway and Patti LuPone came on my first cruise. Then I didn't do cruises for a long, long time. But about 5 or 6 years ago, Phil Bursch, who is the owner of Playbill, which is the guy who prints the books, and it's a huge business. They're, worldwide. And if you can imagine a Playbill that has exactly who's in the show and their bio, it's a huge operation. And so anyway, he called me one day and said, I've been doing these cruises and I've heard a lot about you, and I hear that you're really great with people, and would you like to come on one of our cruises and be the music director? And I was like, would I ever? Yes, I would. And he said, oh, by the way, your parents can come too for free. And I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. So we did a Caribbean, and then we did a bunch more. And then the pandemic hit, and it all stopped. We had others planned, and now we've started again. So January in Egypt was the first, cruising down the Nile, crazy. Hugh Pinero and Jen Colella. It was a great bunch. And then we just resumed. So a month ago in September, we sailed in the Mediterranean with Audra McDonald and Gavin Creel and Santino Fontana and Tommy Tune and Liz Calloway. It was like mind blowing. And, getting to play for these folks and hang out and go onto the different excursions in the ports, so much fun. The next one is in April. We're doing a river cruise from Brussels to Amsterdam, and then next summer in Alaska, and then the South Pacific next year down to Tahiti and Bora Bora and all of that. So it's kind of, it's travel and music are my two favorite things. And if I can do them at the same time, John is a happy guy. Yeah.
Can you even? I mean, can you
Oh, I
imagine?
feel so lucky. I love it so much.
They pay you to do this? Come on, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Well, when I was doing some research and then when I was talking to Christine yesterday and getting ready for today, I knew you were my kind of people, John, because I have a dog and my dog's name is Clarence.
That's nuts.
Don't even. I can't believe this.
Clarence, he's right here.
Look, we
Yeah,
have
there he is. My baby boy. That's my Clarence. I have to meet yours.
my Clarence. He's a little Shih Tzu. He is named after the angel from It's a Wonderful Life.
Thank you. That's insane, Robert.
Christine was like, he's a dog named Clarence. I said, no, he does not.
I know.
God.
That's insane. I love it. That's great.
Well, I am so excited to see what the future holds, the shows that you're going to write, the songs you're going to write, the music you're going to play, and the joy that you've made a lifetime of people really happy through their daily mornings and their evenings at the theater and their mornings on television. And truly, from this little theater nerdy kid in Richfield Park, New Jersey, I want to say thank you. And there's millions of us like us thanking you for all of the music and the love and joy that you really shared to us all. Christine, what do you have to say? You have anything you'd like to add?
I was just going to say to thank both of you for being a part of, having this opportunity to be on today with this episode, and that you're both talented, bright, kind, fun, wonderful people. Not just human beings.
Thank you. I
And I
appreciate
respect
that.
both of you, and that I will continue to support you.
Nice.
Both.
Thank
That's
You're
like, do you
so-
want to hear about my television gig I just got?
Yeah, please.
It's a new opportunity. I am so excited to say that I'm going to be music directing Carol Burnett's 90th birthday on NBC in the spring. So it's a 2-hour variety special on NBC, which has been my dream. I've always wanted to do a variety special, and we're now starting to book the guests, and you're going to flip when you hear who's going to be on the show. It's really, Carol Burnett is so loved by everyone, and we've been friends for a long, long time, and I'm just so excited. Oh, and so everyone is like saying, yes, I'd love to be on the show. So it's going to be quite insane.
I was going to say, does anyone say no? Who's going to say no?
No, I don't think so. Unless you're just, you're absolutely unavailable when we're taping in March. So
The first Broadway show I ever saw was Moon Over Buffalo with Carol Burnett.
fun. Oh yeah.
And my parents took me, and the second that I walked out and the stage door was there, and she walked out a second, we were waiting for the car, and that was it. I was bit by the bug. I was like, okay,
There you go.
I need to be a part of this world.
There you go. And you are.
So when is it going to be?
It'll air in April, right around her birthday, on NBC. I'm sure you'll hear about it. So
Congratulations.
we'll let you know what the exact date is when we know.
About as exciting as it can be. Well, this is on now. That it's right before the show in St. Louis. So if you're in St. Louis, like we said, make sure you go check out John. It's Coming Home concert October 20th at 7:30. BlueStrawberrySTL.com, and then follow him at JohnMcDaniel.com and on Instagram and all of the things. Make sure we'll see what other magic you've got up your sleeve, John.
Nice. I look forward to it, and thank you for the thank you for the love. I appreciate it.
It's a real honor to talk to you, and thank you so much for being here with us.
Pleasure. Have a good one.
Thank you.
I agree.
Are you a multi-hyphenate? Are you? I'm sure you are. You may not call yourself that, but you are. I'm sure you do lots of things at work. You do lots of things in your personal life. Doesn't mean you have to be a singer, actor, dancer to be a multi-hyphenate. You can, do dishes and laundry. That's multi-hyphenate. Are you watching any good television? Well, there's lots of great television that's been out, especially with all the apps of the Hulu and the Peacock and the Netflix and the whatever, the Disney and the etc. So there's a great new show on Hulu, and I'm really excited to talk to one of the stars. Take a peek at this. All right, I'm super excited to talk to our next guest because right now on Hulu, while you're home on the treadmill or in bed, and it's a Saturday, and you have a cup of soup, and you're ready to fall into the fall, you need to be binge watching this brand new show. It's called Reasonable Doubt. It's an all-star cast. It is directed and co-produced and also by all sorts of fancy people. And one of those fancy people is here. She's a Broadway star. She's a singer. She's an actress. She does a little bit of everything. Angela, get over. Angela Grovey is here. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is like a big, I mean, a lot of your career is a big deal, but this is a big deal.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah.
Huge. Tell us a little bit about Crystal and Reasonable Doubt, if you don't mind.
Reasonable Doubt is about Jack Stewart, who is a criminal defense attorney, and I get the joy of playing Jack's assistant, Crystal, who is an outspoken, very opinionated person who loves Jax to death, but is not afraid to tell her the hard truth sometime.
Everyone needs that in their life. Will you come do that for me? Will you?
Yes, Robert, I got you.
Well, it's streaming right now. It's on Hulu. And what about this cast and creative team that's behind this show? Would you give us a little scoop about who's all working behind this whole project?
Yeah, so one of our executive producers, I don't know if you know this name, but do you know Kerry Washington?
I hear she's up and coming. I hear that she's
new. She's new. She just got here. We don't really know her yet. Kerry Washington is one of the executive producers. Ramla Muhammad is one of our EPs. She's a showrunner, so you know her writing from some Scandal, some Little Fires Everywhere, some Insecure, and the great Larry Wilmore, who has been in everything, who knows all things comedy and all excellence all around. It's also one of our EPs. So it's amazing. That's just our executive producers. And then there's a bunch of other people on camera that you get to see that are pretty amazing. Yeah.
They sure are. You're going to watch it. You're going to see a whole bunch of actors that you've seen in so many different things all together. And look, it looks like fun. Look, you're already giving a read. You look like a boss lady. I don't want to mess with you. And that outfit. Come on, costume.
The outfits are everything.
Well, listen, all the cool people are hanging out on the streaming platforms. That's where all the cool people are. That's where the good original work is. You have Hulu. Get on there, start streaming this. How did this show come about? What was the process like for you to get cast in this show?
I was doing actually like auditions and self-tapes like a lot of actors were during the pandemic. So you stopped going to auditions in person. And so it was like, let me set up my camera and be a camera operator, a lighting person, all that things in my house. And it was one of hundreds of self-tapes I did. And, I got a call back for it. And they were like, oh yeah, you're doing a callback with Kerry Washington. I was like, excuse me, what? Huh? Kerry what? The Kerry Washington. So I try to play it cool because she's up and coming. Right. But yeah, like I had a call back on Zoom with Kerry Washington, and I was like, this is crazy. Like hey Kerry, like what do you say? Like
I wouldn't know.
Like I don't know. So yeah, I went through a callback series, and then for some magical reason, they were like, Angela, you're the person to play Crystal. And
because you're the person to play Crystal. That's why. Listen, I went to DR with my family, and to avoid my family, I binge watched all the episodes of Scandal. That was how I survived a week vacation with my family. She's a genius. A genius.
She's a genius. And so lovely. She's actually such a caring, nice, friendly person. And we were lucky to have her actually direct the pilot. So Kerry Washington, you see her in full effect directing this piece. Episode 1 is fantastic. And she's so lovely, both on and off camera.
That's amazing. We're all going to stream and watch it and stay a part of it all. Can we go a little down memory lane with you? Can we talk about your career? Yeah. So this is what I've heard about you. You're from Texas. Mm-hmm. And one day, little Angela is in Texas, and she sees Kathy Rigby fly by and says, all right, I'm ready for show business. Is this what happened?
Kind of. So Kathy Rigby, is famous for a lot of things, but she would do Peter Pan a lot of times in a lot of different like major cities, and it was a thing that she did in Houston, where I'm from, at Theater Under the Stars. And one year I decided to audition to be a Lost Boy. Don't worry about it. I was an actor. I knew then that I could play. I knew that I could tap into that. And my parents let me do it, even though like I had to miss a little bit of school and work a little extra hard to do it. But that's sort of when I got bit by the bug. I was like, I'm in dirt. You can't tell that it's like really me. This is not glamorous, but I love it. So that's sort of when I got bit by the theater bug.
And then you eventually go to Chicago and study the craft.
Yeah, I went to the Theater Conservatory at Roosevelt University. I have a BFA in musical theater, and love my Chicago education. There's a lot of great theater in Chicago that's very different from theater in New York and different from theater on the West Coast and in Michigan and like all over. So I wear my badge of Chicago, like super, super proud. And then after I graduated, I decided to stay in Chicago for 2 years and work professionally and just sort of like work a little bit in Chicago.
Oh, all right. And the theater scene in Chicago is so underrated when with the snobby New York and LA people are about the theater companies in Chicago in that area are legendary.
Legendary. I mean, you have Steppenwolf, you have Chicago Shakespeare, you have Goodman. There's a lot of great theater there. And also like improv. So I was like, I'm going to stay. Also, I was scared to move to New York. Like I was like, I don't really know if I'm doing this yet, like fully. And so I was like, let me try this out in Chicago and see if I can like survive, if I can do this. And I didn't just survive, I thrived. And so at a point it was like, all right, Angela, come on.
Go to New York. Let's go to New York. Can we talk about some Broadway? I saw the Broadway shows you did. Let's talk about. We'll start off with this one right here. This show's fun. This show. I saw this show. Shout out to friend to this show, Leslie Odom Jr. and Raul Esperanza is a genius.
We love Raul.
We pulled. There you are back there. We were in the vault. Let's go. So was this your Broadway debut?
This was my Broadway debut. Oh my God. I'd worked so hard for that. Like I just like growing up, I was like, all I wanted to be was like on Broadway. And so the show was so special for me. I got to try it out in LA with Brooke Shields. And then we came into New York, and even though it was short-lived, I will never forget that experience, because it was just like, all my life I had just dreamed of like making it to Broadway. And I was like, oh my God. Then I was like, now what?
Now what is more shows, more tours, and then a giant TV and it's film career that is just one more show, another show that I saw. And I remember you so specifically. I sat at the Marriott Marquis. My friend is a big Parrot head. I went to. They sure were. Fins to the left, fins to the Cheeseburger in Paradise. I escaped to Margaritaville. And this fun cast, you all looked like you had a blast of a fun time.
Oh my God. When I tell you, I'm pretty notorious in companies to be a little bit of like a jokester. Like once we're like, we know what we're doing, I can be a little bit of a jokester. But I had so much fun doing Escape to Margaritaville. I mean, I was like, are they really paying us to do this? They are. Yes. So much fun. So much fun doing that show.
Angela, you've worked with, you did The Wiz with Ashanti. You have done, you were with Lilius White. You worked with Lilius, who is the queen. It doesn't. And then you do a whole tour. I just saw the show for the first time 2 nights ago. You go on the road with The Play That Goes Wrong.
Oh my God, did you love it?
I've been in that show. I think I did a Jersey Community Theater version of what I saw on stage. Right. At intermission, I looked at my friend and was like, do you remember when I did The Wedding Singer at Villagers Theater in Somerset, New Jersey? That's... But see, Angela, that's what I was so fascinated when I was going to talk to you, because yeah, you sing your teeth out, but and you can act, you can be the assistant and be all boss lady on Hulu, but that's a lot of physical comedy. That
Yeah.
is fun. So how did you flex that muscle and find that skill?
I mean, thankfully, I had just gotten done doing Escape to Margaritaville. So we were cheeseburger in paradising and to the right in heels. So I was really like sort of like physically able to do it. And the play that goes wrong is like it's blocked a lot like a musical. You know, you have to have like staging for safety reasons. So physically, I was like, okay, great. I know how to do this. I'm in control of my body. I was like, I went to school for this. I got this. But what I was so surprised about was actually being able to like sort of sharpen my improv teeth in that show, especially doing it all across America and in Canada, is being able to go into like different markets and having to improv with people every single show in different cities. I feel like I came back and I was like, put me in any situation. We can play improv games forever.
I love that though. Oh, it's so much, improv's the best. You don't have to memorize any lines.
Thankfully for that character, it works.
Well, then let's talk about movies and television. Can we just take a moment and talk about this movie? A joyful noise. You want to talk about people in a movie? Latifah, Dolly, Kiki, Jeremy Jordan, Melba Moore, who's been on this show, and you. So how did this movie come about, and how did your film, this big film moment, happen for you?
So Robert, I have to tell you this wonderful like dream moment that happened for me. I was doing a show at the Vineyard Theater in New York. It's an off-Broadway show. It was one of my first New York experiences. It was called Wig Out. I love the show so much. And I was making like no money, but I was so happy doing it. And the writer of the film Joyful Noise saw me in it and wrote that part for me in his film. I know. Isn't that crazy? Crazy. What's
yours is yours. What's meant to be is
truly. And I feel like that's like just like a testament of like showing up and being your best, no matter what the situation is, just like going in and being like, I'm here, I'm available, I'm like buckled up for whatever the ride may bring. And I feel like life is just beautiful that way. You don't know what kind of nugget you might get out of it because you weren't expecting it. So that's just a good reminder for me.
Oh, it's a good reminder for me. It's always like when I do these interviews with such amazing people like you and I act a fool, and then someone says to me, hey, I saw you interview someone. And I said, oh no, what did I just say or do? People are watching this? No. So, but I get it. You never know who's watching it and what it will lead to next.
No, you never know. And like, it was so funny. The writer, Todd Graff, and he also directed it. He saw me in a show afterwards and he was like, this is going to sound really strange, but I saw you and I wrote a film for you, a part in a film for me. Do you want to talk? I was like, either this is a stalker or this is like the biggest, dream happening right now. And it was the latter.
All here and look at you in the movie and look at this. I remember the movie so much. My dream is to just be I just want to hug Dolly Parton.
He's incredible. I have to say that, like, I didn't, you don't know what to expect because you're like, this is a legend. Like, we had so many legends with us and I was just like, what do I expect? But when I tell you, like, I walked into a dance rehearsal with her and she's just as little as you expect, but like, she is so normal and like, was like, hey, Angela. And I was like, oh, hi, Mrs. Dodd. Hello. What do you say?
I have no idea.
What do you say?
I have no idea. I wouldn't know what to say to Carrie. I wouldn't know what to say to Dolly. I wouldn't know what to say to Latifah. I don't even know. I wouldn't even know. But you know what to do because you're booked. You go on. You have your part in 30 Rock, which is quite the scene-stealing moment. Blacklist, High Maintenance, Modern Love. How did this transition from theater to television? Was it a conscious choice? Was it kind of the universe led you this way? How did this become kind of the new avenue that you've taken off?
It's I didn't anticipate this at all. I thought that I was going to go to school, I was going to study theater, and then this is what I was going to do. And then, I got to New York and I happened to like book 30 Rock, and they were like, oh, you've got something. And then some casting directors started to meet me. And I mean, to be honest, I didn't see a lot of girls that looked like me on television. So I didn't think that television was going to accept who I love as this plus size, beautiful brown woman. And so I didn't think that there was a place for me. And so thankfully the industry was like, no, we want you. Come, let me snag you. And thankfully I didn't give up, and I kept like allowing myself to be in rooms. But I'm one of the lucky ones. The industry has shown me and reminded me that they want me in the spaces. And I'm grateful, because I know that a lot of people don't have that. But I thought I was just going to be a theater girl, and I thought I was just going to be on Broadway, and that was going to be it. So this is magical for me.
Well, now you're a TV movie star and a Broadway star, and now you can do all of it. You can do it all. I've asked this question a lot to people after the pandemic. We have a lot of students that watch the show, acting students, performing students, and a lot of them talk about the audition. We have had conversations, and the number one question I get in the chats is, can you ask these performers about the audition? In this day and time, Angela, where you're in your house and everything is here, the ring light and the tape and the tape and the tape.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your process when you get sides and you have to audition? Can you give a little lesson for us about what works for you?
Yeah, I which is very like strange. I was actually just talking about this. When I go into like deep character study, you can always like tell a little bit about my opinion of them based on my character's nails. So, but you can't always do that with self-tapes. I mean, you might be like churning them out like 3 in a day, but I actually like, I think about my hair first. As a female identifying person, that is something that like I think about appearance. So for me, for self-tapes, it's something that instantly allows me to like tap into a character. It's like, especially as a woman identifying individual right now, I think of that. It triggers me to just go to my Rolodex of people that I've seen. I can reference those things. It allows me a faster entry into some of this material if I take it from the outside and then I look there. Okay, yes. It allows me to get a physical world of what that character might be doing. And then I can really dive into the text in a different way. So it's like some bold colors on top for these self-tapes, and then I go in and I shadow it all out.
That's fascinating. Well, it gives you a feeling. The look and the attitude comes with a lot of the aesthetics of the character.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that like, especially since you're in this room by yourself, and like maybe someone is on Zoom,
Right.
talking to you, it's very different. So you have to put yourself in that position. You have to put pants on. You have to put shoes on, because that's how you would walk into a room. But we've been so used to like not doing those things for a long time that I feel like, especially as like artists, you have to like tap back into the physicality of it. And for me, that really helps me like get charged and energized again, like I would in an old audition. What do you call it? It's not even normal anymore.
In person, I don't even know the way it used to be, the old-fashioned days.
In the olden days, we used to go.
Well, you have to get in a car or get on a train and go down to a building and walk in.
Yeah.
So someone like Crystal in Reasonable Doubt, when you had to do the self-tape, like how did you envision her? What did you do?
Well, the thing is that I envisioned her completely different physically than what she turned out to be. But she was like a no nonsense, like the description is like no nonsense, assistant, sassy, opinionated. So like, I was like, great, I'm going to like dial this down. It's like blunt cuts, like here's what it is. And then I got to the set and they were like, actually, let's build your character's wardrobe. And it's like color and pizzazz. And I was like, oh, fierce. But that's the thing. Like, when you go into an audition, you have to have an opinion. Like, that's the thing is like us as artists and actors, a director or producer, they want to know what your opinion is, what you're going to bring into the character. And sometimes it can be off, but sometimes just having a very clear opinion about something gets you into that next room. So that's what I'd say. Like, it's not about like the clothes and the hair and stuff. It's about, I have a clear opinion about this character. So I think that specificity is always really helpful, in person and on a Zoom self-tape. But like being an actor, you want to be specific about circumstances.
And you heard it. That's exactly right. What are the circumstances? You better show that life on the screen. Even if it's not, be who you think the character is. Don't think of what, right. That's it.
Exactly. Do the thing that everybody wants to do. You get to like play. But yes. Like reminding yourself that it's okay to like pretend like you're on the playground like we used to do. You're allowed to do that. That's our job. Embrace that.
And if you do that, you may get to sing Jimmy Buffett music on stage, and you may get to Zoom with Kerry Washington, and you may get to dance with Dolly Parton. It's your living proof.
And I might get to talk to people like Robert right here.
Well, that I am grateful. I'm grateful for you for talking to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, our homework assignment, everyone, is we're going to go to Hulu right now. And we have to start something new because legal shows are all the buzz. Like the legal shows are killing it.
It is. Well, and this one is not your everyday legal show. This one really sort of talks about not only office life, but also like family life, friend life, and how this very powerful woman navigates some challenging situations. It's so like seeing people talk about it on Twitter on Tuesday nights is everything. Like, so we tweet at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Twitter, and I like go and I like literally last week I was like, I am watching this feed like I don't even know what's happening because people have strong opinions. I mean, strong opinions. It's good.
All right. So how many episodes? We're behind schedule. We got to get on it. There's a couple out.
There's a few out. So episode 4 comes out tomorrow.
Okay. So we're four in. So go binge watch it and then get on Twitter and they have to find you.
7 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry. Pacific Standard Time.
Got it.
It takes place in LA. So we got to like convert yourself over there. Mm-hmm. Yes.
10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Pacific time. Everyone, you're going to go to Hulu, watch Reasonable Doubt. And if you want more information from Angela, you should just go to Instagram or go to her website, read all about her, find all of her videos and her fun, and keep up to date because I'm sure there's more series, more shows, more movies, more Broadway shows, more music, more life that she's going to be exhibiting out for you all to see. So make sure you stay tuned for what's to come. I'm so excited to see what's going to happen next. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Robert. I appreciate that. And lovely to talk to you. You've got good energy. I like you.
Well, I like you. It's all reciprocal. It's the way it is. So thank you.
Thank you.
How about that? Her energy, bam. Man, they don't make people like that. You're born with that. Star. Angela, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to the PR team, JCPR, who helps us out with these interviews. Especially they have the most beautiful, bright, talented people on their roster for sure. Everyone, if you want to check out more interviews and more information about me, go to robertbannon.com. Follow us on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Give us a comment. Tell us what you think. Good, bad, ugly. Where are you from? What's your name? What'd you eat for lunch? Whatever you want to share with us, you can go ahead and share and subscribe to the channel because we're here with a live show every Thursday and then a roundtable talk throughout the week. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful and magical week ahead of you. And as always, the best is yet to come. Hang in there and I'll see you again real soon. Good night, everybody.